everybody, welcome to Half the Battle, and welcome to another look at European file cards. Today we're going for a bit of a nautical theme. First off, let's take a quick look at last week's character, Topside. It's not that remarkable really, but I figured I'd include it so you get the whole Topside experience, as it were. His Dutch name was Topper, meaning, well, somebody who's just the tops. Yeah, it loses the affiliation with his job, as the word topper has nothing to do with the deck of a ship. Unlike Topside, they instead opted for a name that sounded similar. It's also the name of a Dilbert character, but that happened after the fact. His French name, Matelot, is really lazy and uninspired, as it simply means seaman. Which is only funny if you're 10 years old and you've just learned that seaman, the sailor kind, sounds the same like semen, the sperm kind. Our next entry has a bit more meat to it. Whale meat, even. God, that's a horrible joke. It's Cutter, the killer whale driver. His Dutch name is Orca. So, meaning orca, aka a killer whale. And the hovercraft is still called that too over here. So what we have here essentially is Killer Whale, the driver of the killer whale. Yeah, real creative there, guys. Just naming the guy after the vehicle he came with. Still, I suppose this could have actually benefited other characters. Like, I don't know, the Desert Fox driver. Poor Skidmark. I can see why they didn't just go for a translation of the term cutter, as I didn't even know there was a Dutch word for that type of ship until I looked it up. I knew what a cutter was, but didn't even know what it was called in my native language. It's so obscure. The Dutch word is kotter, by the way, so, yeah, that would have just raised more questions. Unlike with Topside, the French come to the rescue this time, as they make Cutter considerably more badass. His French name is Harpo. Yes, Harpo. And I know what you're thinking, cause I thought the same thing, but this isn't a Marx Brothers reference. Though by God, I wish it were. The word Harpo doesn't actually appear in a French dictionary, so they sort of made it up like with Jinx. It means an harpooner or an harpooneer, somebody who harpoons. And that's just a great visual, this guy throwing harpoons at the enemy. Going back to the Dutch file card, his real name was changed too. In Holland, he was Martin Tromp and hails from Brielle, the Netherlands. Or Brille, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. This meant most of his file card had to be rewritten from scratch, as the original was full of references to American stuff. He ran away from home age 14 to join the Merchant Navy. He wanted to follow in his ancestors' footsteps. That's because in Holland, this character was named after a famous Dutch admiral. Maarten Herpertszoon Tromp was a 17th century seaman who also hailed from Brielle or Brille, the Netherlands, and was most famous for defeating and destroying the 5th Spanish Armada at the Battle of Duns. Though he did do lots of other stuff too. And Orca here is his direct descendant. Man, did you ever think you'd learn Dutch naval history on this show? Half the Battle really goes to weird places sometime. Anyway, yeah, this means that Orca is a completely different character from Cutter, with his own unique backstory. This was common for early Action Force toys, but not so for those in the G.I.Joe line proper, so this guy is a pretty special case. By the way, the Belgian file card uses the same text as the Dutch one, but keeps his American name and birthplace, meaning the reference to following in his ancestors' footsteps makes absolutely no goddamn sense at all. Lastly, I have to mention Wetsuit. Though unremarkable on its own, I have to point out that his French name was Orca. So, Cutter and Wetsuit share a name, albeit separated by a language barrier. His Dutch name is Waterrat, meaning watervole. Not exactly an awe-inspiring name or animal, but I should note waterrat has a second meaning. Namely, it refers to somebody who's very, very good at swimming. I can understand why they didn't go for a literal translation here too, since, well, being named Diving Suit is pretty lame. And those were Topper, a seaman that's just a tops. Orca, who's an harpooner with a proud Dutch lineage. And Orca 2, Electric Boogaloo, who's a wet rat. For next time, I'm actually thinking of doing another Q&A, so leave your questions in the comments or on Facebook and Twitter. Well, see you next time, everybody, and hey, why not like, share and subscribe if that's your thing.